Hi, my name is Kim, and I am a 53-year-old wife, mom, grandma, and teacher. I'm also a makeup artist for Saint, and cream makeup is absolutely fabulous for mature skin. I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks and show you how to highlight and contour on mature skin with our 3D foundation. My compact may or may not look exactly like yours, but I have equipped my compact with a few tools that are really useful for me and my aging skin and some of the things that pop up on our face as we age. I want you to take a peek at my compact and you can tell that it is very loved, but these are the tools that I have found work best for me. Some of these tools may be something that you want to add to your compact, or you may need to add a little bit of something different. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a full face highlight and contour and add the products in that I find are most helpful for my mature skin. I'm also going to be demonstrating the use of some of our brushes. You may have seen the cheetah hack method or the dot method, where you take a series of these colors, you place them in a specific spot on your face, and then you blend them with one brush. I am going to show you what I found works better on mature skin, and that's using the right tool for the job. I have equipped my compact with 2 demi items. Demi uses color theory in order to filter out certain distractions, and I have a lot of purple and blue, so I'm going to color correct first by applying a little bit of Y01 just to that area that needs it. The product is highly pigmented, so I do not need a lot of product. Then I'm just going to go ahead and sweep and press that in. A lot of times when we see creasing, it is because we have applied too much product. Well, with Demi, that's not necessary. You can already see how it has brightened. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side as well. Okay, I added that to the other eye. I'm going to go ahead and gently brush that in, just like that. I have the laugh lines right here, smile lines. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a color called 01 and just lightly kind of fill that in. When you have wrinkles and texture, look at that as shadow, okay? View that as a shadow. And in order to make that less visible, you want to bring that shadow forward so you can see how minimal product ended up helping those laugh lines. Okay, let's get to highlighting and contouring. So I'm going to start with my contour. This is the detail brush. It has an oval end on it. I'm going to plop it down, dabbing into the makeup, not swiping, and we're going to go ahead and add it on my cheekbones. And I tend to keep it a little bit higher, but not too high. Cheekbones. Hairline. And just a little pro tip here for mature skin. If you get, or if you have hollowing out of this area right here, again, it's back to those basics. If there's a shadow right here that's causing you to hollow out as we get older, don't apply your contour there. Just keep it just like this kind of half moon shape. That's where you would keep your contour. Now, if you have fullness there, by all means, you can contour from temple to temple. And then we're going to go ahead and contour the jawline. Here's another pro trick. If you have jowls, okay, so that is that where you're starting to lose the elasticity right there. Start from the sagginess of your jowl and go on back, okay? Sagginess of your jowl and go on back to the ear. And then you can go directly under the chin, and you want to carry that contour all the way down, okay? Carry that contour all the way down, especially if you have a double chin, so this will distract from that. And then we're going to go ahead and contour the jawline. Here's another pro trick. If you have jowls, okay, so that is that where you're starting to lose the elasticity right there. Start from the sagginess of your jowl and go on back, okay? Sagginess of your jowl and go on back to the ear. And then you can go directly under the chin, and you want to carry that contour all the way down, okay? Carry that contour all the way down, especially if you have a double chin, so this will distract from that. I have 3 brushes here that I typically love to apply my main highlight with. This is called the Blush and Bronzer brush. I use the smaller end, or the 3D brush has that pointy end. I use the fluffier end, or the detail brush that we used for the contour. You can also use this end as well to blend your main highlight. Okay, so let's apply our main highlight. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the 3D brush, but I love all of those brushes equally. We're gonna go ahead and pop into our main highlight. So sometimes we feel like we need to go lighter with our foundation, but with mature skin, you actually need to go a shade darker. If you go too light, then you could be accentuating fine lines and texture. So you are taking that brush and basically pouncing it onto your face, and just go back in and grab as much product as you need. There is no need to be absolutely perfect because we're gonna blend it all well in the very end, okay? So you're going to pop that main highlight pretty well everywhere else except for where you have applied your contour. Can you apply your main highlight first? Absolutely. A lot of people will decide on the order after they experiment and figure out what works best for them. So I have just applied my main highlight. I'm gonna go back in with a brush. This is the same one that I used to contour, the detail brush, but I like a small ended brush to apply my accent highlight. Accent is the lighter shade. It is meant to be able to draw attention to the face in the areas that you want to bring forward, to make lighter. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I like this area, okay? And I call this area right beside my nostril the sweet spot for mature women. You cannot overemphasize that under eye area by applying too light of a color there. So I go in front of it, and we can go behind it, but we don't want to go over it. I applied a little bit of contour to my nose, keeping that line really thin, and only a very small line down the middle of my nose is lighter. And the reason being is because I'm going to take that brush and I'm going to pull my accent highlight right down the middle. I'm also very careful right through here because as we age, we get those, my daughters used to call them, you have an 11 in your forehead, mama. That's because that's those deep wrinkles, you know, when you get mad. If you apply too much light product there, it's going to accentuate those. So I kind of stay away from that. If you want to, you can apply a little bit right under your nose and a wee little bit on your chin. Sometimes at this point, I would blend everything, but I want to show you by applying my lip and cheek color how I blend it all together. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use that 3D brush. You can also use your finger for your blush, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you the lightest amount, and this is sandstone. I'm going to apply it just above my contour. Okay, I kind of like the 3-finger method to applying blush to give you an idea of blush placement. And let's let's do the other side. It's amazing how these brushes know the right amount of product to pick up. I get that question a lot. You mean you're dabbing from one color to the next? Yes, you don't need very much product. If you're worried about it, of course, wipe it off onto a rag, but for the most part, the color does not transfer. A lot of it has to do though with the method that you're using in order to apply the makeup. Obviously, if you get too much product, especially of lip and cheek color, it might transfer, so very little. Less is more. And let's do the other side. It's amazing how these brushes know the right amount of product to pick up. I get that question a lot. You mean you're dabbing from one color to the next? Yes, you don't need very much product. If you're worried about it, of course, wipe it off onto a rag, but for the most part, the color does not transfer. A lot of it has to do though with the method that you're using in order to apply the makeup. Obviously, if you get too much product, especially of lip and cheek color, it might transfer, so very little. Less is more. Okay, so let's just blend. I always start from the lightest shade and I work my way out. So I'm gonna start underneath of my eyes, working that light color in, more pressing. And I have a beauty blender that I'm going to be finishing up with at the end, so I'm not gonna worry if I don't get all of that right now. Right here along my nose, it's more of a pressing in. This entire time, the makeup has been warming up to my skin. So it is important for me to tell you that your makeup is only as good as your skincare routine. So if you notice that your makeup is not sitting well, you may need to make an adjustment to what you are doing before you apply your makeup. The contour gets blended back into your hairline, down onto your jawline, and now we are left with the darkest part. So when I blend my contour and my blush, I will flick back because I want to blend it back into my hairline, and then I flick up. Whatever you do, don't flick down because then you're dragging all of that darkness, that shadow down, and then it's gonna drag your face down. Back, flick up. Okay, so have a beauty blender. I ran it under water, and now I'm gonna take it in a towel and I'm gonna squeeze it in the towel because you don't want this too wet. You actually want it barely wet or barely damp. Then I'm gonna take that small end, the tapered end, and we're just going to lightly press that in, okay? If it is too wet, it's going to remove the product, and if it's going to kind of dilute the product, and if it is too dry, it's going to pick it up and pull it off of your face. So that's why you want it barely damp. Okay, and you can do this all over your face as well. You want this makeup to look like your skin. So by pouncing it, it is going to end up looking more like your skin and removing any excess product in case you just got too much. This should not feel sticky. I'm gonna go in and line my lips with my contour. My contour is called Astoria. But by lining with a darker color, especially if you have those smoker's lines, I've never smoked a day, but it will help to trap the color in. If you have narrow lips like I do, it will also help your lips look fuller. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take a little bit of my cheek color. This is Sandstone. And apply it over top. We're almost finished. I used my contour on my eyebrows. Don't forget about your eyebrows. Don't neglect them. They are the windows to your eyes. And then in my compact, I have paired up my bronzer and my illuminator. A bronzer is an item that I recommend to every mature woman because it is a really easy way of warming up the skin. And it's also a really great way of transitioning through the seasons as well. An illuminator in cream form is a beautiful way of adding a little bit of glow to the skin. So I'm gonna take, this is the 3D brush, but again, you could use whatever brush works best for you. I'm pouncing into my bronzer and my illuminator at the same time, and I'm just going to apply it on the higher points of my face and then also my cheekbones. So this will just provide some warmth and glow all at the same time. You can kind of watch that happen right before your very eyes. One final step that I always do is to take a little bit of setting spray. I'm going to spray it on that barely damp beauty blender. And then I'm going to pounce really easily all over in order to set the makeup. If you want, you can also take a small amount of finely milled setting powder and do that same thing. If you tend to have over shiny areas, just a small amount to be able to set the makeup and make it less shiny. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you'll have a blast adding to your Saint Compact the items that you feel will most benefit you as you age.